Okay, so let's start with a blank linked list and add some nodes to the tail of it. We will say variable myll equals a new linked list. Now we will add some nodes to the tail of it by saying myll dot add to tail, and we will pass in a value of 10 for our first one. Now let's log out our linked list to make sure it is working correctly. So we will write console log myll. Okay, great. So we have our linked list over here in the console, and we can see that the head is pointing at the node we just made, and the tail is pointing at the same one. Great, that is just what we expected. Let's add a couple more nodes to the tail. We will add another node to the tail with the value of 20 this time. And let's add one more with a value of 30. Okay. Now, to check and make sure that our method is working correctly, we will traverse through our linked list node by node and log it out to the console. So we will say console.log, and in here we will say myll.tail.previous. We will expect that this will log out the node previous to the tail, which would be the one right here of value 20, because this is the second to last node that we added to the tail. So let's see what we get. Great, and we get exactly what we expected. We just logged out our node of value 20. And you can see that its next and previous properties are pointing at the correct nodes. Now if we log out myll.tail.previous, we should get the first node that we added, a value 10. Let's see. Great, that is exactly what we get. We can see that it has a value of 10, its next property is this whole node right here, and its previous property is null. Perfect. So what if we use both our add to tail method and our add to head method? Will they work together properly? Let's see. So under here, let's write myll dot add to head, and let's pass in a value of 100. So now we have added 3 nodes to the tail, and we have added 1 node to the head. So if we console.log out myll, we can see what we have. Great, so the head property is pointing to the node that we just added of value 100, and the tail is pointing to the last node we added to the tail of value 30. Perfect. And you can see here that the nodes are nested inside the next and previous properties, which is good, meaning that they have the correct references to each other. Great, so as one final example, if we console log out myll.tail.previous, we should be logging out the node we added to the head. Let's see if it works. Great, it does. We just logged out our node of value 100 with its next and previous properties, which is just what we expected to happen. Great, so it looks like both of our methods are working just as we expect them to. Let's now move on to removing a node from the head of our linked list in the next video.